Good morning, first grade. I hope everyone is having a nice day so far. All right, we have another deep dive today, and we're going to talk about what's called matching nouns and verbs. And before we get to the matching part, let's first talk a little bit about nouns. Do you remember what a noun is? What do you think? Yeah, a noun or nouns are words that mean a person, place, or thing. Now, we also talked about the difference between singular nouns and plural nouns. Do you remember hearing about that? Do you think you know what the difference is between a singular noun and a plural noun? Yeah, singular nouns name just one. So, one pencil, one book, while plural nouns mean more than one. And it can be two, five, seven, a million. So it's anything that is more than one. Do you remember how we change words if we want to show that a noun is plural? Do you know what we do to the word? Do you remember? So if we had one cat or if we have five, how would we change the word cat? Yeah, you're right. We would add an S to the end of it. So with many nouns, we can add an S to the end of the noun to show that it means more than one. Let's take a look at Feel the Wind. If you have the copy of your book nearby and you'd like to grab it, that would be great. You could pause the video and grab it. But let's look through this book and see if we can find some examples of nouns. And we'll think about if it's singular or plural. So I'm going to flip through and just kind of look at the pictures, and I see a bird, that would be one singular. All right, let's see. I see cloud or clouds, right? That would be a plural noun. It talks about the wind, and it also talks about winds, more than one. It mentions storm, or I also see the word breezes. There is a balloon, and if there were more than one, we would say, that's right, balloons. Nice. I see a tree, or if there were more than one, we would say, like in this picture, trees. So let's take a look. I've added these to the chart for us. So some of the singular nouns from the book: cloud, wind, breeze, storm, balloon, tree. And the plural nouns, we see cloud becomes clouds, wind, winds, breezes, storms, balloons, trees. And just like we said, most of the time, for many, not all, but many nouns, by adding S or sometimes ES, sometimes we have to add ES, can make a noun plural. Okay, now that we know that, let's get into this matching, noun and verb matching. Really quickly though, before we do that, do you remember what a verb is? Yeah, very good. An action verb. It tells an action. So keep in mind what singular nouns and plural nouns are and what verbs are. And let's take a look at some sentences and see if the nouns and verbs are matching. Okay, so it says wind brings changes in the weather. So first we would ask, what is the subject? Remember, what is the subject? And in this case, the subject is wind. And then we would ask, what is the verb? The verb in this sentence is the word bring, brings. Wind brings changes in the weather. What do you notice about the end of the word bring? Yeah, there's an S at the end. Now listen to this sentence. What if it said, wind bring changes in the weather? Does that sound right? No. In this sentence that we see on the screen right now, the subject and the verb agree. The subject is singular, and when a subject and the noun in the subject is singular, we often have to add an S to the end of the verb. If the subject is plural, then we don't add an S. So we're going to take a look at a couple other examples. For this, you can normally tell when you listen to the sentence if it just doesn't sound right, right? If I say, wind bring changes in the weather, you can just hear that that just doesn't really sound right. So let's look at another example. So this one says, rainstorms blow in the wind. What's the subject? Rainstorms, very good. What's the verb? Blow. And the verb in this sentence does not have an S at the end of it. And why is that? Yeah, there's no S at the end of blow because the subject is plural, rainstorms. When we see and hear the word rainstorms, that tells us it's more than one, it's plural. Listen how this doesn't sound right. If the sentence said, rainstorms blows in the wind, does that sound right? No, that doesn't sound right. So, as I mentioned, we can often hear, but the rule is if the subject is singular, we add an S to the verb. And that's what we mean by matching. It goes together. They go together correctly in the sentence. If the subject is plural, meaning more than one, then we don't add an S to the end of the verb. Okay, let's look at another example. Okay, so we're actually going to practice reading a few sentences on our seesaw activity and deciding if the sentences have matching verbs and nouns or if they don't. So let's just take a look at that page quickly and I'll read the sentences for you. Okay, so what you will do is use the pen tool and you are going to circle the sentences that do have matching nouns and verbs. The sentences that sound correct, that they have if it's a subject that is singular, just one, the verb has an S at the end of it. If it is a subject that is plural, the verb does not have an S at the end of it. So let's read these, and then you'll circle the ones that do have the matching nouns and verbs. Number one says, the clouds brings rain. You would circle it if you think that is correct and has matching nouns and verbs. Number two, the tree blow in the wind. Number three, the warm air rises. Number four, cool winds blows from the sea. And number five, some birds soar on the wind. Okay, so again, you will circle the sentences that do have matching nouns and verbs. And why do you think this is important? Why are we talking about this today? Yeah, it helps us to become a better speaker and a better writer so that we can better communicate and more clearly communicate with others through our speaking or through our writing. Okay, so circle the sentences that have the matching nouns and verbs and keep up the great work. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.